listening. Are you tired of the same clout-chasing gatekeepers, the same sports media, podcast, and radio with recycled
Start the
takes,
podcast over.
no context?
I'm dead ass serious. That was disrespectful to Nipsey Hussle.
Comes in. See, we're different. We give you culturally concise commentary, context for the culture, in-depth NFL analysis. So get ready and prepare yourself for the tangents.
Listen in.
Bro, what was that? That wasn't even a real Nipsey tribute. You just played the instrumental. You didn't even play him actually rapping.
Yeah, I was gonna play the instrumental from the beginning. That was the move.
That this is why I should have been on the boards. I'd have handled that one a little bit differently.
Well, it's kind of hard to, mix
You didn't play it long enough.
and,
You play
fade
long
in
enough.
and fade out off of YouTube. But I'll do the best with what I have, all right?
You could have just muted it and then played the other one. Whatever.
They're literally in the same window and off the same source. So how was I going to do that, Mr. Zaytoven, brilliant engineer over here?
Split the same tone.
Yeah, exactly, because you know everything.
That was so good that I'm just going to let you win this one. That was too good.
But yeah, for those of you
But
out there
seriously-
listening, we are live from the Good News radio station. I'm PD Camarillo.
Kenneth Frank James Berry. I apologize for that intro.
And this is Touchdowns and Tangents, your weekly spot for NFL takes, culturally concise commentary, and tangents for the culture. So, on this week, I know my mix kind of messed up the somber tone, but the fact of the matter is, I think I heard an event earlier this week that pretty much summed it up the best. But the morale of the city is really just lowered right now. If you're really out here, in the culture, in the streets, then you obviously already know what happened. We lost a real one, Nipsey Hussle. So, Kenny, I know it's been on your mind all week, so you want to go ahead and sum up the situation and kind of where we're at and kind of how you feel and everything. Go for it.
Okay, so pretty much the streets knew who killed Nipsey when it happened because he was a well-known killer, gangbanger, and police informant. So I'm not going to even give energy to even saying that piece of shit's name because he doesn't deserve life. Or the chick who was his getaway driver, as far as I'm concerned. Because you can't tell me that you didn't know that was happening. It's just, I don't believe that, especially as smooth as he got away and nobody could find him for 2 or 3 days. But pretty much, Nipsey wasn't even supposed to be at his store that day. That's why his bodyguard had the day off. He had heard about a friend who had just got out of prison after 20-some-odd years, and they went way back. And he, out of the kindness of his heart, decided to give him some clothes, help, give him a nice gesture, get him back on his feet, get him some gear. And it's one of his longtime friends. He goes by the name of Cowboy. He was on the news, and they were saying how the guy walked up to Nipsey, shook his hand, said he was a rapper, and people knew who he was. But a lot of the what's coming from that situation is people are saying that Nipsey checked him on being a snitch. I was like, don't come around here. This, that, and the third. He got mad, got angry, came back with a gun, shot Nipsey point blank, 5 times to the body, 1 to the head. Now, for anyone who isn't familiar with that level of marksmanship and accuracy, one might assume, okay, they do that in the military.
Which they don't do that in the military, by the way. That's actually fake.
War zones.
They don't do that. Okay. It's actually 3 shots. It's not 5.
Well, yeah, you don't need that many in the military, but
exactly.
But it's shots to the body and a shot to the head.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. But in this particular case, you see the video, and there's multiple reports are saying the dude was wearing different clothes in different videos, but mainly the video where he is shown killing Nipsey Hussle, and there's video where Nipsey's getting put into the ambulance, but you could tell he was dead because he got shot up close and then shot in the head, and then the guy kicked him, shot him, and then ran back. And it was disgusting.
Just blatant disrespect.
Like, the man was murdered in his business in the city he's from on a busy Sunday afternoon on Crenshaw and Slauson. And as someone who has caught the bus all up and down Crenshaw and knows that they're building a train station right there up and down Crenshaw, it's nearly impossible to get out of there in broad daylight. And because everyone knows the fact that that dude who killed him, who murdered him in cold blood with children present, they know that he's a snitch and a murderer, and because you're an informant, you're backed by the police or whatever agency has you by the strings. So that's why people are saying it's a conspiracy that ties in the government, because yes, anyone, and we've already heard stories about cats in the hood who probably just committed a robbery or did some wild, crazy shit, and now they out at the club, and they said, I got out on bail, or they just keep getting away, like no charge sticks to them. That's because they're an informant. And I was going to say this for my rant, but I'm going to just say it now so people really understand the term of not snitching. This whole not snitching shit, you can equate it to Nipsey getting murdered, because this dude is a snitch. And to define what a snitch means in the hood, for all of you who have no connection to the inner city whatsoever, and no real connection to hip-hop or hip-hop culture, or just black people and black culture, when black people say snitch, or in the hood when they say snitch, I'm not talking about if you see a kid get robbed, or a girl get beat up, or somebody get shot up and somebody's grandma got shot, and you know what happened, and you don't, and you choose to not say anything, and you say, I ain't no snitch. That makes you actually an accessory to a murder, one. And two, it makes you a horrible human being, because you're a civilian who saw something and innocent people were hurt, and you should say something. Snitching is when you in the street life, you doing street shit, and you committing crimes, and then you got the audacity to turn around and take a deal and roll over on the person you were doing crimes with. You do the crime, you do the time.
Yep.
And there used to be honor amongst
you want to say?
Used to be honor amongst thieves.
Just by the way, whoever and the people out there reposting the video of him getting shot,
you're fucking gross.
Fuck you. You're fucking disrespectful. You have no morality. Sorry, I came out the bat like that, but it's just unfortunate that the people, his family and his loved ones, can't mourn in peace. And that was like the first thing that I said to social media, and I made it known to everybody, like, let the people mourn in peace. I get that you guys have all these conspiracies and these ideas, and people love Nipsey. You guys want to get down to the bottom of it. But for these people to come up with these crazy conspiracies and all this other whack shit and then post it and continue to repost it and people replaying it, it's just sick. And it's just kind of showing, not to digress on this topic because this is important, but it just kind of shows how desensitized we are to society and just human interaction in general. And like, to me it's just mind-boggling how many people reposted it and like and didn't mind and didn't really, you know what I mean? It's just, to me it's just weird that
on that note, I thought it was, kind of corny too. Like, a lot of people across the country were having, balloon send-offs, blue balloons for Nipsey, in Houston and here in LA, like across the country. And then people on their Twitter timelines just chime in like, oh, do you know how many whales that kills? Do you know how many marine life that kills? And it's like,
who was saying that? White Twitter?
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, I get that, but at the same time, it's like, that's not the message of the venue for that. Because I guarantee you have thousands of other places where you pollute and have all sorts of emissions that you don't recycle or get rid of. And if you're that concerned about it, then donate to an organization that's cleaning up the marine environment.
Yep.
But don't shit on some man's death and the way people are honoring them just to get across your agenda.
Like NBC and some of those bum-ass people in the LGBT community out here wanting to throw up toxic masculinity when a man who literally fed and gave economic birth to a community, you want to run and talk about his toxic masculinity? Well, he's dead. And it goes to my other point that black men are never allowed to be victims, even when they're victims. Never in history have black men ever just been allowed to be victims. Black boys, none of that.
Shout out
At least we'll feign some sympathy for a black girl when honestly we know a lot of y'all don't really give a shit about black women. You just pretend like you do. Mm-hmm. And there's some black men who will get out here and fight for their daughters and their sisters and all that. But when it comes to black men, the first thing a lot of people want to do, like they threw up the fact that he was a gang member first off.
A gang member that gave back to the community.
He's not even active. It's like, yeah, he's from 60s. Like that's just he can't erase that. He can't ever say he wasn't. And my issue really is, like, this dude was doing things at 33 that a lot of these so-called old heads in their 50s and 60s and even 70s, these old, excuse my language, these old-ass niggas. I'm really trying not to curse anymore.
Oh, yeah,
they've never done. Yeah, but you
okay again.
But anyway,
hold on. Let me finish.
You cut me off while I was talking.
Anyways, that's my job as a moderator.
Oh,
nah, like you
all right, but shout out to Ryan in the chat. She pretty much said on Service Point, just like my students posting videos of fights, arguments, etc. Kids are so desensitized to what that represents and being a bystander during horrific events.
And her second comment? She says, I literally explained the concept of respecting privacy and people's lives, even on social media, to these young kids. It's so unfortunate. Yeah, because we, like that punk-ass kid who was on the freeways said he shot Nipsey. Like, one, somebody gonna pop his ass. He's stupid. We see your face now, so somebody gonna see you. But that's just really sick and inhumane. And it was a lot of celebrities, even people on Twitter, who were just fake caring. And like, you got like the dude George Johnson and a bunch of people got on his ass writing that article for NBC. And that's why we talk about it's a lot of niggas, it's a lot of black people who just can't wait to sell out other black people. Can't wait to make a buck off a dead person's name. Can't wait to like, whether it's Malcolm X, whether it's Dr. King, whether it was Fred Hampton, whether it was Stokely Carmichael, any of the Black Panthers, whether it's any black person who's doing something positive, there's always a hater that's usually really close to you. It could be a family member, a close friend, whatever. Like, this dude was a rapper, knew Nipsey, and they were in the same gang. Now, obviously, different sets sometimes have different rules, but he was a Crip, and I'm pretty sure, like, no one... Nipsey's been a Crip for how many years? Over 10.
For his basically, half his life, his whole life, man.
Yeah, so it's not like we didn't know what he was, what he used to be. So it's not like when they want to say, "Oh, it's a gang-related shooting." No, it's deeper than that. I don't think he got murdered because of Dr. Sebi. Talking about Dr. Sebi, even though like over 300 like holistic healers and all that have magically shown up dead over the past 3 years.
He's a pseudo science doctor. Don't believe that shit, and I don't care if people hate on me for that. Like, no.
He's been disproved multiple times.
He actually like went to the federal court and proved his innocence. So there's that.
Yeah, he proved.
That's why he never came back for 30 years.
Yeah.
No, he was still working. He was just
not here.
Well, yeah, because like once you beat the case, you kind of want to get out of Dodge.
I guess.
You tell me you beat it. Okay, it's like if OJ beat the case and then stayed where he was.
I mean, this wasn't the only place where he was wanted. So,
well, a bunch of holistic doctors. That's a whole nother point. But anyway, like I can get the whole conspiracy theories, but the bottom line is a dude who was bankrolling the community. Like anytime black people actually have a chance at some wealth, at some just starting some wealth, it just somehow